All right, welcome back to the channel, y'all. For those that have seen some of the previous build-up videos, so the series that we've got going for the Lost 118, February 15th, it's 2 days out. If you haven't seen some of those videos, I'd encourage you to go back and check them out. If you're new to the channel, welcome. What we're going to cover here are some of the running basics. What I like to do is break things down, try and simplify things, show you the way that I do it. This isn't the right way, the wrong way. It's not the only way, but it's just the way that I do it. What I've got in front of me is all the gear, the nutrition, and the hydration. So literally everything that you need or that I'm going to need to get me through this 100-mile race. This one's a little over 100 miles. It's 118. So of course we're going to approach it the same, but I would encourage you to check out some of these things that we've got as examples of nutrition, supplementation, as well as the gear. Again, it's not the only stuff that's out there. It's not the best stuff that's out there. It's what I use, and it's just kind of a suggestion that you can go off of. Let's just start with the gear. A lot of people are asking me, what kind of shoes am I running? I'm always running with the Speedlands. These are the GS platforms. I've got two different pair. I've worn these through the Skunk Ape 100, the Across Florida 200, and the Tampa 100. So I've got over 500 race miles on just these shoes alone. And as you can see, I'm wearing them out. I'm gonna rock these the entire ride if I can on this next 100. But of course, I've always got my backup, and I would encourage you to have that as well. Let's dig into the gearbox real quick. I've got everything kind of put together, and I just want to give a couple of suggestions with what we've got here. Really quick, shout out to my friends, the alumni of the Cross Florida 200. They really helped me out and encouraged me to do things a little bit differently when I'm digging into my gearbox. And not only does it help me to be more efficient as a runner, but it also helps your crew when they're trying to find things and be more efficient for you as a runner as well. So what I've got here are things obviously that are bagged up. And again, it's simple things, but it makes it a little bit more efficient. So I've literally got a bag of socks here. For me, I don't particularly worry too much about the type of socks I wear. A lot of people like the wool. A lot of people like Ninjinji. I could wear Hanes cotton socks and be just fine. That's just me. So I have a variety of socks here. There's going to be literally just tall ones and short ones, you know, ankle socks and then mid socks. And the only reason that I carry two different types like that is because dependent on the temperature that we've got. You know, here in Florida, I'm a Florida guy through and through, and so the temperature it's you know, it's always humid, and it could drop a few degrees, and things can change. So you know, I don't like to be cold. If it's going to be cool, I'll definitely wear the longer socks. And if it's going to be like a hot run, like it's expected to be on this one here, up on the levee, around 85 degrees, I'm going to just be wearing short socks with some sunscreen, right? So get you a bag of socks. I don't usually change socks that much. If I don't have to, I never do. I just really use a lot of the nut butter before I get going, and just make sure that my feet are nice and lubricated before we get going on the run, and then just kind of taking care of them as you go along. Also, I've got a bag of shorts here. I'm obviously going to be wearing race day shorts, but these are ones that are just going to be a different set, different pair, a little bit longer, a little bit shorter. Just give you some options. All of this here is my hydration stuff, so like bladders, my couple of handhelds that I use. All this stuff I like to clean up after a run and then, you know, put back in a bag so it's all in the same spot. And we'll talk a little bit more about the bladders and the hydration strategy that we got going. But again, just keeping it all in one spot, right? Shirts, same thing, long sleeve, short sleeve, depending on the temperature. If it's really going to be hot, you would think, you know, maybe rocking or wearing a short sleeve shirt, but I like to wear long sleeve, especially something that's maybe a little bit lighter in color. So, you know, just having a couple options in shirt, helping your crew out. Like, hey, give me that white long sleeve that I've got in there. I'm feeling a little bit warm, but I want to take this undercoat off. helps the crew out being more efficient. I got a ton of headlamps in here. People always say the different types of headlamps, the self-dimming, all the ones that are the pelts or the black diamonds, ones that are high dollar, big name brands. I don't currently own anything like that, and quite honestly, over the few years that I've been doing this, I've just been buying a couple of the 2-pack, $20 headlamps from Amazon that have a couple of different features, from dimming to wide view. But I've always had success with that. For example, this one's going to be up on the levee system, so the Lost 118 around Lake Okeechobee here in Florida is up on a 30-foot levee. They schedule the run to be on a full moon, so when you're up there, you can turn your headlamp on, and it's quite nice actually, and so you can kind of conserve battery. But I'm not even saying that with these cheaper ones you have to do that. You get a good 6-8 hours out of them easily, and if you have a backup, there you go, you get through the night. Also, we've got a reflective vest. Depending on what type of race you have, it might be a required gear. For this one, it happens to be, because there's a few road sections you got to get out on, so you want to have something that's reflective, also maybe blinking some lights. Also, charge it up as well. And then with respect to charging stuff, a couple of good battery packs. I've got 3 or 4 of them in here, but these are like the cell phone size ones. Again, $20 on Amazon, nothing that's too expensive. I've had them for several seasons now, and they fit really well inside a fanny pack. Got one in here somewhere. Well, a fanny pack. I think it's in here somewhere. But the example that I'm gonna give you here is fanny pack, cell phone. You're running, like, maybe following a Caltopo course, or you're running Strava to keep yourself on track, or collect data for your run. I don't like to rely on my watch. This watch is like a Fenix 5 or 6 that I've had it for several years. It keeps going really well, but I don't like to count on it for anything that's 100 miles or more for keeping my pace and all of that type of thing, because it'll crap out on me, and then it won't let me charge it while I'm still running on that particular track. So it kind of stinks in that regard, but I just like to have it to keep track of time and that type of thing. But a watch to me isn't really, I don't really particularly care too much about the data, but what you need, you can obviously collect with Strava. Really quick into vests. This is like the Nathan Vapor Air. It's, I don't even think they make these anymore. I got this one and the exact one on a sale. I picked both of them up for like $35 a piece. The other one is in here somewhere. This guy here, same vest, but it's just been run through the paces. This one's taken me through all the races we mentioned before, 500-600 miles of race running, and just this vest alone. And the cool part about it that I like that I got respect for is, like, look, you can still use the zippers. Still, for me, shoving stuff in there. So for me, it's still a good backup. It stinks, it's ugly, but I'm gonna still use it if I need it for a backup. Got the same one. I like to have something with multiple pouches, right? So I've got 2 pouches on left and right side here. This run, it's a crew only. There's no aid station, so we make up the particular course, or excuse me, the aid station stops. If you need to get in a little bit closer, a little bit farther, you and your crew kind of work that out. So I'll know the distance that I'm going to be running, and the next time I'm going to see my crew. So I'll be basing off the 2 700 milliliter ones that I've got in my hand. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about hydration, but the bladder as well, I like to have that as kind of almost a counterweight to the nutrition that I'm shoving in my bag in the back. And I like to just have fresh water as well when I'm running. Like, even if it's something I'm just going to cleanse my mouth, kind of rinse my mouth out and spit it or something. Sorry for being disgusting, but that's just kind of the way I like to roll, because I'm always going to be taking in a supplement, whether it be the G1M, a calorie supplement, or a electrolyte. I'm rocking those depending on the temperature, and I think I'm going to need both of them this time in hand because of the heat. I'm a heavy sweater. I sweat a lot of salt, and so I need to take in a lot of salt. And both of those from the BPN line are really good supplements for keeping you on track and keeping you hydrated with your electrolytes. So nothing special here. Different hat options. This one, I've got the sun hat, right? I don't know, obviously ugly, but it protects your back of your neck, and then you get the little face guard deal to protect your face. It's super cool when you're running, but when you're exposed completely, I mean, look, that's all there is to it. It's cover up completely with sunscreen or cover your body with some of the gear that you can. And I would encourage you to do that because you can stay cooler. Some of this stuff will then kind of in return give you the cool effect. These hats are pretty cool, especially like I said, when you're going to be out in the sun. Just a couple little bids, one to go around your neck. A lot of people like to shove water bottles in them, right? I like to put it around my wrist just to wipe sweat off my face. Pull it off, do that deal. A couple different hats, maybe a beanie in case it gets cool at night. Let's see, what else we got in here? First aid kit. So this is a simple first aid kit. I've got, some muscle cramp, some CBD cream in there. I've got some ibuprofen, sunscreen. For me, probably the biggest use that I've got in here is this unpetroleum jelly. So this stuff right here, it's kind of like, nut butter, but you can get it off Amazon, $5-6, I think. I just squeeze this stuff all over my toes, and this, again, I think I attribute this to not having problems with my socks. So unpetroleum jelly, highly recommend that. A lot of people haven't heard of Nauzene. It's kind of an option to Tums. It's for upset stomach and nausea. So check that out. It saved my butt on the Lake to Ocean 100K. My stomach, I was getting kind of woozy with the calories and stuff like that. I wasn't taking in as much as I needed to, and that stuff from my sister-in-law. She gave it to me, and it was a game changer. So let's see, real quick, cheap rain jacket. If you spray this stuff with the repellent and keep up on that, I mean, this thing right here, it's been through multiple seasons, and it's served me well. Granted, if it's pouring rain, you're gonna get wet, right? So just keep up on the repellent, and a nice cheap rain jacket will be just fine. This is what I was gonna tell you earlier, right? So it's just cool to have a fanny pack, because you can just have this guy and it be easy accessible. Phones, like I say, your battery pack in there, even keeping a few more goos or bars or something like that along those lines in there. Gloves, couple of different options there, big ones in case you want to layer up there. Dude, how about a fresh pair of clothes for the finish line? Some fresh drawers, shorts, shirt. I got a couple of obviously options there. If you're going into the night, which I always do, so I tend to like to layer up, especially if it's going to be cool and damp. So a couple of different options for running pants. I've got a pair of like mid Nike ones here, and then some Exo Skins that are all the way, all the way to the ground, or I say to the ground, but to the ankle. And those jokers are pretty solid when it gets cold out. Let's see, a couple of waterproof bags. These bags, just in case you got to shove everything in there, or if you've got some drop bags, work really well. This one's going to be one that I can put in the vest, so I can cram cell phones, battery packs, headlamps, any electronics. This is going to be good. All right, I'm going to quick throw this stuff back in here, and then we'll cover the nutrition stuff and hydration. Hi, Briar. You want to come here? Sure.
Why do you have a lot of batteries?
All right, okay, we're back. We got my third oldest daughter here. This is Briar. She's 6, going on 16.
6.
Oh, 6, just 6. So she's going to help me talk through the rest of this stuff. And we're just going to cover the nutrition. This is a whole box of pretty much the same thing, but this is what I highly recommend, what I train with, what I've been running with, and what I'm going to ultimately use to get me through this race. G1M, this stuff is 40 calories, right? No, 80 calories. 80 calories a scoop. For a gallon of water, I'm gonna put 20 scoops in there. So every time I fill up my water bottle, I'm essentially getting about 2 scoops of this in there, or 80 calories with some electrolytes. So liquid calories is something that I learned throughout, a few, just bonking some of these races, that you need something to supplement outside of the more solid foods that you're taking in. And for me, I was on Goos and doing Goos alone, and it was terrible. Like, I just didn't like the texture. I didn't like the way that it sat on my stomach, but I just forced it out. I just kept going with it. But then I started to progress in racing, talking to people. I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, people are like, "No, those are nasty. This is what I do," and it brought me to this stuff. So BPN again, G1M. This stuff is really good for liquid calories. Aside from that, like I said, with my hydration strategy, I'm going to be drinking as well as consuming every hour a 700 milliliter of the electrolytes as well. So this stuff is just a few calories, but it's going to be all of the essential electrolytes, right? And it's really high in sodium. I think this stuff it's like 600 milligrams of sodium. So this stuff's really good for me, for someone that needs to replenish their salt, because I sweat a lot of salt, right? I've got a couple of different options for the Go gels in here. This one, definitely not my favorite, but have yourself something that's a little bit of a different option. I like to eat a gel, especially in the earlier hours. Every hour I like to eat a gel with a bar. So these are 100 calories with some of the essentials. This one has caffeine in it. I don't particularly care too much about the caffeine or the taste of that, but the texture is good. The cinnamon one, this is my go-to. I've been doing this one, or I've been eating this one for several years now. Still like it. It can get me through at least 50 miles, no problem, on this and the G1M alone. But your palate starts to get tired of that, that same taste. So what I like to do is then start supplementing with some of these other nutritions that we'll talk about. But pairing this with a Go bar, that's 300 calories. I eat one of these and one of these an hour, 300 calories an hour, or about 4 every 4 miles. And that keeps me with my hydration, my G1M, and my electrolytes. We'll talk about the separate bottles here. So for 100 mile, we'll start to supplement this with these other nutritions that we're going to talk about. This is salt tablets. This is another thing that I always like to have. If you feel yourself getting like a little wonky, or you're just like, I'm eating well, I'm drinking, but I'm just like, I feel like a turd, I would suggest maybe trying to supplement some salt in there. If you sweat a lot of salt, you will see on your equipment, like I see it all over my hats, all over my vest, my shirts. They sparkle, they gleam like a little Christmas tree, right? Because it's all the salt that's coming out of my body, right? Briar, you've seen that before?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of salt, huh? So again,
Did Bubba come in? Did Bubba?
Our puppy dog's right there, and he's all right. Just let him lay there.
Okay.
That's essential, right? Making sure you're replenishing the things that your body is being depleted of. I've got a shout out to my wife. I love her so much. She does everything for me. So Band-Aids, why is that important? Somebody, like I said, if you fall, I was just out here running the other night, training. Briar and I were training on the easement together, and what happened?
He fell on the rocks.
Yeah, I fell on the rocks, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep. So busted my knee up, right? All right, on to nutrition. This stuff here is all we're going to be taking for the 100. So this is all me, right? This isn't for the crew. This is all me. Now, of course, I'm not going to drink 24 half sodas here.
Yeah.
but I do like to give myself an option. But we'll talk about that really quick. In the morning, I suggest giving yourself, while stacking the calories, I just had a huge, we had some stir fry, right, for lunch, and a nice smoothie.
Yeah,
And then
smoothies
also, what was that, babe?
I said smoothies are good.
Smoothies are good. Yep, we had a really good smoothie. And then I ate a ton of white rice on top of that. So this week I just been drinking, hydrating a lot, getting, you know, a gallon of water per day in, and filling myself with calories, stacking those calories with things like rice and breads and potatoes. So I'm eating those for every meal this week. But on the race day morning, have yourself something nice that you can wake up and eat. Like, I like to wake up a few hours before. We even go, because we're going to be traveling for this run, we're going to be going about 2.5 hours. So we're going to leave the house. Race starts at 7. We've got to leave here about 4:30 to make it on time.
We're going tomorrow on Balance Day because we're going with Mimi and Pop, my grandmother, because that's my dad's mom, and we're going to a hotel.
Yep. So some of the girls are going to be going to a hotel. They're going to be going pretty much right to the start line and hang out with some of the crew, my mom and dad, and then my wife and I and our oldest will stay back. We're going to feed the animals. We got some cows and different things we got to take care of, make sure they're all squared away. And then, like I was saying, we're going to get out of here about 4:30 in the morning. But what I like to do is wake up a few hours before that and cram something down. These are high protein. We're going to make these tonight. High protein muffins.
Yeah.
Everybody likes them. I like to eat a couple of them in the morning before we go. Then I'm going to take a banana, right? I take bananas and I'm drinking on my drive. I'm going to be drinking waters, but I'm also going to be getting at least one of my electrolyte supplements down on race day. Into the, say, probably 20th hour, right? Where I'm tired of the goos, I'm tired of the Go bars, and it's cooling off. I don't need as much hydration. I'm not going to be drinking as many of the liquid calories. That's when I like to change it up on my palate, right? That's when my palate's kind of like getting a little sick and tired of the same stuff. So this is what I like to do. These wafer bars, they're 200 calories as well, right? So the same thing as my Go bars, but it's just a different taste. It's peanut butter, it's chocolate, it's got a little more crunch to it. It's a different texture. It helps me. I love these things. Like, I eat them for breakfast. We all like them, but it's something that, I can guarantee that my body's going to react well with, and I can eat it on race day. Same thing. This is very similar. It's just a soft textured bar. This is a peanut butter, dark chocolate, and banana. This one's actually got a couple more calories, so it's 220 calories. So these are a good option when you want to switch it up. We have ginger chunks here, 100 calories, something that helps for your stomach. I don't have to have these, but it's something that I've used. The Cross Florida 200, I ate about a pound of ginger, and it really helped settle my stomach. I didn't have any stomach issues. I just was able to just continue to eat. But I attribute to keeping some of this kind of stuff in. Again, just changing the different textures, changing the different tastes. Dried fruits, I really like dried strawberries. 130 calories just for a handful of those bad boys. Keeps them, things that you can shove in your pockets, right? So when you come into an aid station, you just be more efficient, right?
Yeah.
Get you a handful of stuff, right? Get your water balls situated and keep going. Another option, right? Bread, peanut butter, honey. A sandwich is going to put you well into the 300 calories. So it's perfect to have a wheat couple of pieces of wheat bread, some peanut butter, and some honey on that. That'll go, that'll get you another aid station, another 4 miles on just one of those alone. Into the night hours, I would highly suggest giving yourself a couple of options with fresh fruit. I can just tell you, I like a fresh orange, especially I like to save them for the evening hours, that 20th hour, where you're feeling a little bit of a lull. Always recommend bananas, calcium source. These guys I like to have half Cokes and half ginger ale. Well, ginger ale, again, for just keeping settling of the stomach. The Coke, I like to have that for a little bit of a caffeine source, but also for whatever reason, I just want something like after I've been working. You know, it's like I'm not the type of guy that wants a cold beer. I'll take a iced cold Coke, man. You know, so having that joker in the evening, or you know, just before you have your dinner, which we'll talk a little bit about that, you can hammer some Coke. The other option we've got here is ginger beer. Not too many people have heard of it, or not too many people using it out there. There's so many options. This stuff right here is the Jamaican style. It's just, you know, got a nice little kick to it, but it's easy, settles the stomach. Again, nice and cold, something you can just sip on and go. Ramen noodles, I know, right? I don't like ramen really outside of racing, but I do want to give it the credit that it needs, because I learned on the Skunk Ape 100 in that, you know, 20th hour that we talk about, that this right here was able to turn around one of my buddy's races, and I think ultimately got him across the finish line. And I had no idea that people were eating ramen at that point. So my wife and I, she was pacing me. We had gone through most of the night. We came out into an aid station into the Ocala forest, and we came up on an aid station where our buddy Justin was sitting there, and he was struggling, right, visibly, verbally, and thankfully there was a restroom there. We were like, all right, we kind of got refreshed and we were heading out. But before we had come into that aid station, Justin was rough, but they had so graciously had him some hot ramen ready for him. And by the time we got ready to go and had come out of the restroom, Justin had finished up on his ramen, and this guy was a new person. When we left out of the aid station, not only did he like lead us out, he was talking us the whole way. We had to go into, as some of you have run the Skunk Ape before, the berm section. So it's a 6-mile sand berm that's like, it's ridiculous. But Justin led us through that, walked us through that. It turned the race around, I think, for both of us, and I attribute that to stinking ramen noodles. So have yourself an option to have ramen noodles, to be able to eat that. If you don't have an option to heat that up, maybe talk to the race director, see if they have an option for you. But you know, you can accomplish some hot water a lot of ways, even stopping in like a 7-Eleven and you know, popping it in the microwave. There's plugs at stores, you can use some of those tea kettles. But you know, that's something that, like I said, I've seen it turn the race around for a lot of people. These jugs, 3 separate jugs, I'm going to fill these with my electrolytes, my calories, and my fresh water, right? I actually have one more of these that I'm going to take with me. So I have 4 jugs, just as, you know, a separate one. But electrolytes, calories, and nice, you know, regular fresh water. So this is it, really. I mean, honestly, I don't have, outside of what I'm going to mention now, any other gear that I take on either a 100-mile race, a 50K, a 50-mile, or even the Across Florida 200. Now, obviously, you're going a little bit further. You're going to have to multiply this. But this is for me alone. Now, my crew, they do their own thing. They've got, you know, bits and pieces that they like to do for themselves, as far as like, you know, the food that they're going to be taking, the way that they're going to, the sleeping situation, because they're going to be following me all the way around the lake. As I mentioned, I'm just an average runner, so it's probably going to take me at least 30 hours to get around the lake. So my crew's going to have to follow me the whole way. We've got that all mapped out, but they like to have the specific things that they, you know, like to eat and drink, as well as keep them comfortable. So I would encourage you, as you're working into some of these runs, to have, you know, to have some side meetings, have some separate conversations with the people that are going to be crewing you, of what you like, what they like, so everybody can kind of come together and be comfortable. Because what will keep you out of these runs, or will ultimately keep you from crossing that finish line, is the little things, right? You can train hard, you can be mentally prepared, but if your crew can't make it, right, if they're just uncomfortable, they're, you know, a lot of things can happen. So just try and cover the small details. Remember, you can simplify it by just thinking about what you typically fuel your body on throughout the week. What's comfortable for your stomach, what you typically like as far as hydration. I like Cokes and things like that because I don't drink Coke. And so for me, it's not necessarily like a treat. I wouldn't call it a treat, but it's something that my body like wants. And so when I drink it, it gives me that boost. So I keep myself away from it. So when I get to race day, it's one of those things. It's kind of a perk. It's kind of a boost for me, and a reward that I look forward to. Look, when you're preparing for these adventures, just remember the 4 basics. Nutrition, hydration, mental focus, right? Training strategy, or just preparedness. Those are the 4 things that are the pillars that you can ultimately focus on, and that will get you across 50 miles, 100 miles, and beyond. This right here is very simple, broke down to how I like to do it. Again, it's not the only way, but I would encourage you to just do it at your pace. It's your adventure. Remember, you run you. Do me a favor. Let me know how you're doing it, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.